Hi there, book lovers! My name is Christina and welcome back to Cozy Novel Niche. Today, with this very flowery dress that I'm wearing for no reason except for this video, I'm here with my wishful Spring TBR for 2023. These are the books that for one reason or another made me think about spring and that I would love to get to this spring. I'm not sure that I will, but I will try to. These are on my radar a little bit more during this spring season. So without further ado, let me get into the books and tell you just a couple of words for each one. The very first one that I have here has been on these kind of videos for a long time, and now I'm really trying to make it a priority because it's also one of the few goals that I gave myself for this year, and this book is Les Roses de Trianon by Annie J. This is the first book in a series. As you may see, it is in French. I believe that it's a middle grade book. Yeah, it says that you can read it from 9 years up. The reason why I have this one is that I got it because, first of all, Versailles makes me always think about spring and just the season of lush flowers and beauty. I adore Versailles. That is one of my favorite places in the whole world, probably. And this book is actually set during the reign of Louis XVI. Yes, Louis the 16th and Marie Antoinette. And we're following our main protagonist, who is a girl that is very boyish, but then her parents decide to make her go to her aunt when she meets her cousin, and the two have to go to court and meet Marie Antoinette and help her in some way or another. I guess it's more of an adventurous middle grade, even if it's set in Versailles, so we have a little bit more of intrigue, but also a little bit of young girls being a bit mischievous, stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I hope that I will be able to read it, because my French is so rusty at this point that I'm not even sure that I will be able to comprehend a book written for 9-year-old people. Yeah, that's the point where I'm with my French. So wishful thinking, maybe I will finally grab for this one. That makes me think about another book that I don't have here. That's Sisters of Versailles. That's an adult book about one of the lovers of Louis XIV, maybe. I don't remember at this point, or some of his aunts or stuff like that, but that's like an adult version of this one, so maybe I will reach for that one too, but that one is in English, fortunately. One more book that is historical and deals with court, but a completely different court, and it's actually a fantasy, is a book that you've already seen here on my channel, but I've not reached out for yet, hopefully this spring, because it's a very springy book too. It's Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is one of 3 books, I believe, or 4 maybe, so maybe it's part of a trilogy, maybe tetralogy, I'm not sure, quartet. But this is a romance fantasy set in a Regency era. So we're following our main protagonist, who actually has half a soul. She has been cursed as a child, which means that she's not very emotional. She cannot get very spooked out or stuff like that. And she meets our main protagonist, male protagonist, and we have a bit of banter, we have a bit of romance. It's Regency era with fairies. So, I mean, like, what else? What else do you want from a book? Plus, it's not so big. I mean, it's just less than 300 pages. So this is something that I think is a very light and great book, even for the colors, for a spring read. So that's definitely on my radar. And since we're speaking about Regency era, let's smoothly sail into the next book. That's completely different. It's actually a non-fiction book, and it is Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley. And this book, as it says from the title, first of all, it has all of these beautiful flowers around, so it's pink and flowery, so spring, then Jane Austen really makes me think about spring, and the majority of her books too makes me think about spring in lush English countryside with Regency romances and stuff like that. And this one actually is about the life of Jane Austen behind the scenes, so it's a non-fiction collection. You have some illustrations in here, some photos. I think that it will be very comprehensive and I hope beautifully written. So I really want to read like a proper non-fiction biography of Jane Austen, so this can be a great read for that reason. I swear to you that wasn't planned, but we've just spoken about gardens, like lush gardens in Jane Austen's books, and so now I have a book with gardens in the title. I mean, look at this pretty cover. This book is the tiniest thing ever, and it's Elizabeth and Her German Garden by Elizabeth von Arnim. This author, I've already read Enchanted April by her, and it was lovely. Just a polite fiction that was very soothing and delicate and just enjoyable as a reading experience. So I really wanted to read for this one. That has been on my wish list for forever, and it's very tiny. I had it on my wish list, on my TBR for forever, so I had it there, and I really decided that this could be a great reason and season to grab it right now. And behind it says that it's a witty and sharp portrayal of a woman finding liberation in her garden that has delighted readers ever since it was published. And it's a semi-autobiographical novel with records of each season over a year. So I think that it will be perfect because of the cover for spring, but if I won't read it in spring, maybe I will read it in summer. But hopefully it's spring, because so far we're going with a theme here. Each book brings you into the next, because speaking about gardens, here I have, I swear it wasn't planned, The Fair Botanists by Sarah Sheridan. This is a book that I bought at Topping Company in Edinburgh when I was traveling there last December, and I don't want it sitting on my shelf for too long. I really want to read it. This book is about two women in 1822, and it's a book about friendship and alliances and secrets, because we're following two women. One just moved in a house and she becomes very fascinated with this botanical garden, and here she meets Belle Brodie, a vivacious young woman with a passion for botany and the lucrative dark art of perfume creation. And from there we have discoveries, secrets that don't last long in the Enlightenment city, and when they are revealed they can carry the greatest of consequences. So I don't know in which direction this book will go. Is it a thriller? Is it like just literary fiction? Is it a bit of mystery? Is it a detective story? I don't know, but I definitely want to give it a go. And again, it goes with the theme so smoothly. And here we have something about the fair botanist, and here we have Below of the Woods, so we're evolving into woods. And this is a graphic novel by Mai K. Guiyang. This graphic novel, I've seen it around in the past. The cover just makes me think about spring, and I guess that the story, from what I remember, is a little bit on the sadder side. I don't want to read behind because it's a short graphic novel, and usually the part behind it just tells you pretty much everything, so I don't want to spoil the experience for me, but I will just show you the art inside. So these are the end pages, and then the illustrations inside are very beautiful with these earthly tones, and just again just the first pages so that you won't get spoiled. This is the general vibe, and I think that it will be such a just short and good experience to read this book. So yeah, and since we're in the woods and we've been on the countryside and stuff like that, let's get to the next non-fiction book in which we're following our young author who wrote The Dun Cow Rib, A Very Natural Childhood by John Lister Kay. If you remember, this is one more book that I got from my Edinburgh trip. This is a non-fiction book about a boy and his childhood in the countryside. And I mean, what can be more springy than reading about countryside and just frolicking and playing outside and remembering what it was like to be a kid? So this is something that I would definitely love to read, plus just the cover seems perfect for spring. And the last book here, again, moving not so smoothly this time, but since we have a young boy here we have a young girl, and she's the main protagonist of this middle grade. And this is my third middle grade on this list, because the first book was, and this graphic novel of course is too, and this is a fantasy middle grade, the starter in a series, I believe. It's called The Marvelers by Donielle Clayton, I guess. And I don't know very much about this one. I've actually heard more from different channels about this book than what I've read behind, because behind it just says that we're following our main protagonist Ella, who finally gets accepted to the Arcanum Training Institute as a first conjurer. So she makes friendships, she starts studying, so here we have a magical school as a theme, which is usually something that I definitely love and enjoy reading. I love how authors just create these different settings, school settings, in which we're following young people who literally form lifelong friendships. And here on the cover we have three people. I'm already loving them. And the thing that I know, not from the back of the book, but actually from other booktubers talking about it, is that in this book, like, the powers that people have all derive somehow from the ancestral history and heritage of the characters that are living the school setting. So we have different heritages and different cultural backgrounds, which sounds amazing. I don't know how the author woven everything together, but I think that it will be lovely. Plus, being a middle grade, I rarely met a middle grade that I disliked. Of course, there are books that I kind of like and then adore, so I hope this will be on the adore side of things, but this sounds amazing, so why not? And this was the last book on my list officially. Of course, I will have some audiobooks that I will be listening to. I'm currently listening to the second book in Pages & Co. series. It is a 4 or 5 book series that will be, there will be a 6th one coming out, I believe, but right now I'm at book 2 and it's Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales, and I'm quite enjoying it right now. So I'm definitely on my middle grade wave, because March is middle grade March, and even if I wasn't able to fully participate in the event, I am still keeping my tradition of reading as many middle grades as I can. And I will wrap it up here because apparently I cannot speak anymore. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what are your books that are on your radar for this spring, or if you have any of these books on your radar and you want to read them, or you plan to read them in the future, or if you've read them, what is your opinion about them? And meanwhile, I will be going, and you just take a great book, curl up with it, and enjoy the reading experience if you can, and the weather allows it. Try to do it outside, because the weather is literally getting so much better and reading outside is such an amazing experience. And I will see you very soon in my next book. Why I keep telling it. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! Ciao!